Everyone, kindly please stand up. May I call one volunteer to please lead the prayer? In the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Before you may take your seat, kindly please pick up first all the papers, candy wrappers, or any litters you will find under your chair. But if none, you may now take your seat. Good morning, class. So anyone who's absent today? Very good. So let us always maintain that perfect attendance, okay? So before we proceed to our new lesson today, let us first have a recap. So anyone who can remember what was our lesson yesterday? Yes, Marian. Okay, thank you. So our lesson yesterday was all about interaction among living things. And when we say interaction, what is the meaning of interaction again? Yes, Jmar. Okay, thank you. Interaction is the relationship that occurs between organisms. So when we say organisms, these are the living things. And this interaction can either positive or negative relationship. So can you give an examples of what are these interactions among living things? Yes, Richelle? That's correct. Horse eats grass. So what else? Yes, Flora? That's right. Frogs eats insects. So what else? Yes, Junella. That's correct. Spider eats insects. So what else? Lastly, yes, Veron. Insects eat worms. So that's correct, class. It feels great that you still remember well our lesson yesterday. Our new lesson today has a connection on the interaction among living things that we discussed yesterday. As I mentioned a while ago, that this interaction can either positive or negative relationship. That's why for this morning, we will focus on the positive relationship that occurs among living things in their environment. But before we formally start our discussion, I have here a big picture of an ecosystem with lots of different animals, right? So, can you see it, class? On this picture, I attach 4 small photos that shows an interaction between 2 living things. So what you are going to do is to find these 4 pictures of interaction among 2 living things on this big picture of ecosystem. So again, you will going to find the 4 small pictures that shows an interaction between 2 living things on this picture of ecosystem. Okay, so are you ready? Again, it is just 4 pictures. Okay, so because afterwards we will going to have an activity. So let us now start to find the 4 pictures. So where are those? Can you see it, class? Can you find the first picture? There it is. It's the picture of an interaction between butterflies and flowers. How about the others? Can you see it? That's right. There is the picture of a bird and a tree. So it is the interaction between the tree and the bird. So the bird is on its nest, right? Yes. Okay, so how about the other picture? The last 2 picture. Can you see it? So where are those? That's right, there you found it, the picture that shows an interaction between the fish and the plant. So how about the last picture? Can you find it? There it is. It's the picture that shows an interaction between orchids and a tree. So there you found it, class, the 4 pictures that shows an interaction between living things in their environment. Before we continue to our activity, let us give each other a good job clap. So you can just stay seated as you do the good job clap, okay? So are you ready? 1, 2, 3, go. G-O-O-D-J-O-B, good job. Good job. So once again, G-O-O-D-J-O-B, good job. Good job. For this morning, our new lesson was all about the beneficial interactions among living things in their environment. But before we begin our discussion, we are first going to have a group activity. So I will divide you into 4 groups. This will be the group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. Each group will be given one picture from these photos you just found a while ago from the big picture of ecosystem. And you will describe the picture assigned to your group by providing the answers on what is being asked on the guided questions written below the picture, okay? So is that clear, class? Any questions, clarifications? If none, you will have 20 minutes to do your activity, okay? So you may now begin. All the groups, are you done? If you're done already, let us now check your activity as we also start our formal discussion of our lesson today. So again, what are our class rules when teacher is discussing in front? Sit properly, hands on the desk, pay attention, and listen carefully. Okay, so very good. Just like what I said a while ago, our new lesson today was all about the beneficial interactions among living things in their environment. From the word itself, the beneficial, it's all about the positive interactions or relationships that occur among living things. So these positive relationships or interactions have 2 types. We have the mutualism and the commensalism. When we say mutualism, it is the interaction between 2 living things or organisms where both of them helps each other and benefits from the interaction or relationship they have. So that is what we call the mutualism. They mutually benefits from the relationship or interaction they have. On the other hand, when only one species or organisms benefits from the interaction or relationship and the other is not harmed or affected, that is what we call the commensalism. Only one organism or living things benefits and the other is not harmed nor affected. So, understand, class? So again, what are the 2 types of positive relationships between living things in their environment? We have the mutualism and commensalism. So for a better understanding, let us proceed on checking your activity. So let us use your activity as an example to easily understand the difference of mutualism and commensalism. Each group has their assigned one picture to describe, right? So let us first start with group 1. So group 1, what are the 2 living things that has an interaction in your assigned picture? So it's butterflies and flowers. You have your guide questions, right? Can you read the first one? So for your first guide question, what do butterflies do with flowers? As they obtain nectar, what do flowers also pick up from butterflies? So what is your answer? Very good, that's right. As the butterflies sip nectar from the flowers, the pollen grains that is found at the top of the stigma of the flowers will stick to the legs of the butterflies. We're already done with this lesson, right? It's all about the reproduction of plants. So turning back, as for the second guide question of group 1, what will happen to the pollen grains that will stick to the legs of the butterflies? That's right, very good. When the butterfly transfer to another flower to sip nectar, the pollen grains that stick to their legs will also transfer to another flower, which can be resulted into fertilization to form a seed or to reproduce. As for the third guide question of group 1, what is the importance of the butterflies to the flowers? And how do you describe their relationship? Exactly, very good. The butterflies helps to pollinate the flowers because butterflies is one of what we call the pollinator agents. They are the one who transfer the pollen grains of one flower to another. So, therefore, butterfly and flowers helps each other. So, as for the last question for the group 1, Do they benefit each other? So therefore, what is the type of the positive interaction or the beneficial interaction occur among the butterflies and the flowers? It is very good. It is mutualism because both the flowers and the butterflies benefits from the interaction or relationship they have. So we are done with group 1. So let us now proceed to the picture of group 2. So the picture assigned to group 2 is the picture of, that's right, it's the plants and fish, or fish and the plants in an aquarium. As you describe the assigned picture to your group, your first guide question is, what do plants provide to the fishes in the aquarium? So what is your answer? That's correct. It is foods and oxygen, because aside from foods, plants also produces oxygen for the fishes to breathe in the water. As for the second guide question of group 2, what do fishes gives to the plants in the aquarium? So what is your answer? That's right. As a return, the fishes releases carbon dioxide, which plants uses as a food source. So as for the next guide question, how do they relate with one another? Are they both benefited, and why? So what is your answer, group 2? That's right. The fishes provides what the plants needs, and the plants provides what the fishes needs in the aquarium. So basically, they both provide each other's needs. So as for your last guide question, can you describe the relationship or the interaction between the plants and the fishes in the aquarium? Very good. The plants and the fishes in the aquarium benefits from each other. So therefore, what type of beneficial interaction they have? That's correct. It is mutualism because both of them benefits as they interact with each other. So very good, group 2. So we're now done with group 2. So let us now proceed to group 3. So the picture that assigned to group 3 is the picture that shows an interaction between the orchids and a tree. So you also have 4 guide questions there, right? So as for your first guide question, what do help gives the tree to the orchids? So what is your answer? That's right. The trees provides the orchids a place to live and to grow. So who has their orchids at their houses? So almost all of you. So as you observe, orchids always place in branches of trees or stems to grow, right? Because orchids is an example of epiphytes plants. When we say epiphytes plants, in simple terms, these are the plants that grow to other plants. They are being placed to other plants to grow. Okay, so understood, class? Let us now move on to the second guide question for group 3. What is the importance of the orchids to a tree? So what is your answer? Yes, it's none. Because as for the third guide question, is the tree affected by the presence of the orchids? Does it benefit from the orchids? So what is your answer? That's correct. The tree doesn't affected at all by the presence of the orchids. Neither benefits from it. So as for your last guide question, how can you describe this kind of relationship? That's right. Only one species benefits while the other is not harmed, neither affected. So therefore, this kind of relationship is an example of, very good, it's an example of commensalism because only one species benefits but the other is not harmed, neither affected. So let us now move on to the last picture assigned to group 4, which is a picture that shows an interaction between a bird and a tree. So what is your first guide question there? So what is your answer? How does a tree help a bird? That's correct. The bird builds a nest on the tree where they can lay eggs. So what do you think is the main idea? Why does birds always choose trees to build their nests? So any idea? Yes, J Mart? That's correct, because when the birds had to nest in the open, its eggs would be vulnerable to the predators. That's why they always choose trees or higher places that is more safer to lay eggs from the predators. So, as for the second guide question for group 4, does the bird also help a tree? Yes, it's a no, because the birds is just building their nest, so it has no help to the tree. So as for the third guide question, does the tree harm by the presence of the bird's nest? That's correct. Since the nest is just light, it doesn't harm nor affect the tree at all. So as for the last guide question, how can you describe this kind of relationship? That's right. It's just like the relationship of the orchids and a tree, where only one species benefits but the other is not harmed, neither affected. So it is therefore what kind of or what type of beneficial interaction does a bird's nest and the tree has? That's right, it's a commensalism. It is another example of commensalism type of beneficial interaction among living things in their environment. So all the groups gave a very good answers, and because of that, let us give each other another good job clap. So you can just stay seated, okay? Just as we do the clap, okay? So 1, 2, 3, go. G-O-O-D-J-O-B, good job. Good job. So another one. G-O-O-D-J-O-B, good job. Good job. Okay, so again, what are the two types of beneficial interaction among living things in their environment? We have the mutualism and commensalism. And when we say mutualism, it is what? Yes, Veron? That's right. Always remember that when we say mutualism, both species or living things helps each other as they interact. That's why they both benefit from their relationship. How about commensalism? Yes, Rachel. That's correct. So class, always remember the difference of mutualism and commensalism. When you say mutualism, both of the species or living things are mutually benefits from the relationship. And commensalism, only one species or living things benefits and the other is not harmed, neither affected. So let us now test the knowledge or what you have learned from the discussion. So I will show you set of pictures and you will tell me if it's either mutualism or commensalism. So as for the first picture, it is what? It is carabao and heron. So what is it? Is it mutualism or commensalism? So how do you say so? What do you think that it is mutualism? Yes, Flora. Correct. The carabao provides food for the heron, which is its ticks. And the heron, on the other hand, helps the carabao to be free of its ticks. That's why they help each other. They both benefit from the interaction. So that's correct. It is mutualism. So how about the next picture? Is it mutualism or commensalism? It's about the oyster and the mangrove. So is it commensalism or mutualism? What do you think? It's commensalism. So how does it become commensalism? Yes, Marian. That's correct, class. It became commensalism because the oyster latched onto the roots of the mangrove, giving them a stable foundation to live on, while the mangrove is left unharmed, unaffected, neither benefited at all. So let's have another picture. It's a human feet and a fish. So, what do you think? Is it mutualism or commensalism? It is? It is mutualism. So, how do you say that it became mutualism? Yes, Junella. That's correct. It became mutualism because actually the fish is what we call gararufa fish. They are often used for foot spa or what we call the fish pedicure. Gararufa fish eats dead skin off of the human feet. So basically, humans provides them food. And Gararufa fish helps humans to exfoliate their skin so their feet will be rid of dead skin. That's why it is mutualism. Both the human and the fish benefits from the interaction or the relationship. Okay? So how about the next picture? It's a picture that shows an interaction wherein the spider builds a web on the tree. So is it mutualism or commensalism? What do you think? Commensalism. So how does it become commensalism? Yes, Veron. That's correct. It became commensalism because the spider builds their webs on trees and the spider gets to live in that tree. And the tree, however, is not harmed nor affected, neither benefits from the spider. So that's why it became commensalism. So as for the last picture, it is a picture that shows an interaction between a tree frog and a plant. So, is it mutualism or commensalism? What do you think? It is? It is commensalism. So, how does it become commensalism? Yes, Flora. That's correct. It became commensalism because tree frogs uses leafy plants to protect themselves, particularly from the rain. And the tree or the plant, however, is neither affected, harmed, nor benefited from the frogs. That's why it became commensalism because only one species benefits and the other is not harmed, neither affected. It seems like you already understand well our lesson today. That's why it is now time for us to proceed on your Seatwork. On your one whole sheet of paper, describe the type of interaction that exists among the organisms below. Write the importance of these interactions. As for the number 1, we have the bee and the flower. The bee is obtaining nectar from the flower. And for the number 2, we have the shark and remoras swimming beside it. And for the number 3, it is the boy feeding his dog. So you will write the type of interaction that exists and the importance of their interaction. Okay, so you may now begin. For your assignment, draw at least 2 pairs of organisms. In 2 to 3 sentences, describe the type of interaction that exists among them and tell why the type of interaction is beneficial. You can write this on your assignment notebook to be passed tomorrow.